Hi everyone, my name is Ira Josephs and I'm a volunteer for Pottstown EcoFest. Here's my great last year's event t-shirt, and I'm going to talk to you about eating organically. And I'm not a expert on the subject. I'm not a PhD. I'm not an internet influencer, but I have a lot of experience with eating organically myself. I've worked in the natural foods industry for a long time, and I always attend the Natural Products Expo East, which is a 3-day trade show. I get to talk to a lot of people. I've been vegan for almost 40 years and eating organically for most of that time. I prefer to eat whole foods as well, and I consider that as a nutritional vegan, whereas some people are trying to be are ethical vegans and just don't want to harm animals. Of course, I care about that as well, but I also think it's better for your health. And eating organically is better for your health as well. So what that means is eating organic. Organic basically means that stuff you're eating or clothes that you're wearing or products that you're using on your body are made without the use of synthetic chemicals. And so don't get mixed up with like organic from organic chemistry, which is the structure, and it basically deals with organic chemicals, which are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen, which are all the chemicals, and other ones that we use on all the elements that are made, put together for all the different parts of our bodies, and everything on Earth is made up of organic chemicals. So it's not that kind of organic. It's also not organically where you're saying like something happens like, oh, he became president of the organization in a very organic manner, or this all happened very organically. This specifically refers to agriculture basically and how products are made so that there's no synthetic chemicals used. So there's also, the opposite of that is conventional agriculture, where they have like a regular spray program. When somebody's growing conventionally, it's usually large farms. They have specially treated seeds sometimes, and as soon as they put the seeds down into the soil, they immediately spray with a fungicide or something so they don't rot in the soil. And then as soon as they sprout up, they may be spraying with a certain kind of fertilizer to help them grow, and they continue every so many weeks, so they'll spray them with a chemical fertilizer, and they spray them with chemical pesticides when the weeds start coming up, and that's what I mean by a spray program. It's all very rigid, and they do this until they harvest the plants. And then there's also something in between conventional agriculture and organic agriculture, which is called IPM, or Integrated Pest Management. And Integrated Pest Management is where they try to be as organic as they can, but they will spray with regular chemical sprays if they have to. And actually, even with organic agriculture, there's a USDA organic label, which looks like that circle, green and white circle, and that's been in existence for I don't know how many years, maybe 15 years or 20 years, and it's a whole national program and a huge book of defining what is organic, what you can do for organic agriculture, what you can use and what you can't do. So it's a little bit more than just the synthetic chemicals. It explains what chemicals are synthetic and what are not. It also actually includes improving the soil. But back to IPM. So IPM, they try to be as organic as they can, but it sort of depends on the situation. And when I go to my local farmers markets, and I see signs that say IPM, or the health food store, or wherever you shop, I can't make any assumptions about whether I want to eat that or not. I don't really want to eat any synthetic chemicals that are contaminating my food. So if I'm at a farmer's market, I get to ask the farmers, if it's actually the farmers that are selling, you can ask them about, what's been done to it. That doesn't always work out. You really want to be actually very careful when you do that, because if you say, "Oh, is your stuff organic?" If it's not, they tend to get upset about that and get defensive. So I come in especially apples and fruit around here are really, tree fruit, apples, pears are very difficult to grow organically because of our moisture. I'm on the East Coast here, outside of Philadelphia. Because of the moisture and because of rain, there's a lot of problems that they get from that. So it's hard. So if it's fruit that I'm looking at and it says it's IPM, I say oh wow, I know it's really hard to grow, fruit organically around here. But on the other hand, this year has been pretty dry. Seems like it maybe has been a pretty good year for fruit. What kind of spraying did you have to do? So that way you're already acknowledging that that they probably had to do some, and you can just ask them what it was, and hopefully they'll be honest with you. I find that Amish farmers that I meet at farmers markets, I feel like they're very straightforward with me and honest. I ask them what kind of spraying they're doing, and I feel like I usually get a pretty straight answer for them, because the thing with organic is when you get certified as organic, you have to pay somebody. You have to follow these strict guidelines and fill out a lot of paperwork, and you have to pay them to come look at your books and to look at your actual farm and see what you're doing, to certify, to prove that you're really following the guidelines. So that's really important. And the reasons that I like to go organic, I said for my personal health, all these chemicals that they're using that we eat from eating these fruits and vegetables, and even the chemicals on the clothing and the chemicals in processing too. Like if you're wearing cotton clothes, there's a lot of processing of the clothes that they put chemicals on it, to treat it before they sell it, and you're putting those on your body, and your body absorbs it. Your skin really absorbs a lot, and they've been proven to have all kinds of effects, like hormone disruptors and carcinogenic chemicals and such. So I just feel like I want to stay away from that stuff as much as possible. And also I feel like it's been proven. You can look online, there's been plenty of studies where organic farming, the food is more nutritious, and that's been controversial for a while, but I think it's pretty well proven out. And also worker health. Okay, you think a lot of farms are using migrant labor. They're not paying them what they should be. It's terrible working conditions, and they're having to spray chemicals sometimes where they're not being kept safe. So it's terrible for them. They're getting the effects of these chemicals, not just from residue on the food, but they're getting it. They're absorbing it, sometimes breathing it in, and having it settle on their skin, and they're really suffering from that. So there's another part of I wanted to bring in the fact that anything that's grown organically is also inherently non-GMO. GMOs are not allowed in organic chemicals, and genetically modified organisms are sometimes called genetically engineered. Sometimes people just say GE crops. Right now there's one example is Monsanto's Roundup. Monsanto was bought by Bayer, a German company, but Roundup is a glyphosate herbicide, and what they've done is they've genetically modified corn, or there's some rice, there's some apples, there's some potatoes that have been genetically engineered to be resistant to this herbicide glyphosate, and they take out a gene from some plant that they found is totally resistant to this, and they inject it into a gene of like a seed of corn or whatever it is, and then they grow that, and then they pick out the seeds that have that same. They can test all the seeds that have that gene, and then they keep growing it up, and they can keep. They sell these seeds to farmers that are all resistant to this pesticide, and then when the farmers go to grow these crops, they can spray on tons and tons of this glyphosate, and it kills all the herbs, all the other weeds that are all around their plants, but it doesn't hurt their plants. So as a result of that, we're even spraying way more of the chemicals than we needed to do before we had the GMO crops. And an alternative to that is for organic. A lot of times they will walk around, they will pick bugs off the plants. They do companion planting where there's certain plants that repel certain insects that are harmful to the crops that you're trying to grow. They take care of the soil much better, which helps your plants. And just by not using pesticides for a long time and taking care of all that, the bugs don't bother you as much. So if you've been an organic farmer for a long time, it just makes kind of those problems go away. It's always a challenge growing stuff though. So from planet health to worker health and personal health, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to show you a couple products. Like this is Muir Glen tomato paste, and there's that USDA seal, and have Dr. Bronner's wonderful coconut oil, which has their USDA seal. And this other one that I want to show you is this late July chips. Here's all their seals, and you show that it says that it's organic, but it also has the non-GMO verified, but it doesn't really need that, but you'll see that on a lot of products. But like I said before, if it's organic, you know that it's non-GMO. And then there's, in the bottom row there in the middle, there's a seal that's that yellowish brown color. It's actually saying that it's 100% whole grain. So there's ones that are they have a seal that says it's a 100% whole grain product, which is really important to me, which is also important for my health. It has nothing to do with being organic, it's separate. But I just like to look for that as well. So a lot of people think that organic is more expensive, and I want to tell you that I don't look at the price of non-organic stuff, so I don't really know if that's true or not, because I don't really care. I know that I want to buy organic stuff. Now you can still be a smart shopper. You can go around to a bunch of different stores and price out things and know that some places you're going to pay less than others. Farmers markets, if you're a good customer, sometimes they cut you a break. You get to know the farmers. And also with that, another thing that I care about also is no packaging. So farmers markets, a lot of times you can bring your own bag and the stuff doesn't come prepackaged. That's also separate from organic. But some of the stores that I like to shop at, I'm in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and Martindale's is a health food store. Kimberton Whole Foods has like 7 different stores. Weaver's Way and Mariposa Food Co-ops also have the benefit of being food cooperatives owned by their workers. And then there's Mom's Market, which is much bigger. I don't particularly like Whole Foods because, or Trader Joe's. I try not to shop at those places because they're really large conglomerates, even though they might be, we know Amazon owns Whole Foods, and I don't really want to support them because they do a lot of bad things. And Mom's Market is a family-owned store, and there's like 19 of them, I think. They just opened a third one in Pennsylvania, Abington. There's one in Bryn Mawr. There's one in Center City, and there's one in New Jersey. Most of them are in Virginia and Maryland and maybe Washington, D.C., but all their produce is 100% organic. They sell a lot of organic packaged products, and they also sell clothing and a lot of organic body products. So that's pretty much it. I also just wanted to say 2 other things. It says 2 real good resources for organic, to learn more about organic, is the Rodale Institute, which actually is based in Pennsylvania near Kutztown, and then also Organic Consumers Association. That's an organization that you can sign up for both of them. You can sign up for their newsletters. Rodale has a farm, and they do all kinds of experimental farming, and they pioneered organic years and years ago. An Organic Consumers Association is a nonprofit that sort of an advocacy organization. They get a lot of people to write letters for programs to support organic. So that's pretty much it. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for watching.